All right, so I'm currently on the phone with Rich. He's another one of the musicians that reached out about the interview series. So I'm going to go ahead and give him the chance to introduce himself.
Hey, my name is Rich Shepard. I'm a professional musician. I play bass and sing a little bit and do some writing, and I'm very excited to be on the show today.
Very cool, and welcome. So with these interviews, I always like to start in the beginning and find out, the details of when you first found music. What about it, latched onto you and made you want to partake in it?
Well, actually, we have to wind the clock back to when I was from my earliest memories, maybe 4 or 5 years old, living in Brooklyn, New York, and my mom was a piano player. And I remember sitting with my mom while she was playing piano, or she was maybe practicing something. She never played professionally; she just played for fun. And just sitting with her, and then also my grandparents. We lived in an apartment above their house, and my grandparents were avid music listeners. They certainly were not musicians by any stretch, but they loved music, and they listened to everything from Sinatra to the Beatles to Frank Zappa, literally anything they could get their hands on. So music was flowing through my house every single day from childhood.
Awesome. So, how long do you think it took before, you saw all the music around you and it really kind of set into you before you started, looking at instruments and deciding which one you wanted to play?
Honestly, I was in the 5th grade, and that was the first opportunity to learn a school band instrument. My dad owned a clarinet. He took some lessons and just kind of gave it up, and they wanted me to play it. And so I went in the school band, my little clarinet, and I sat there for about 3 weeks. That wasn't really particularly good, as I recall. And then the band director said, "We need somebody to play the tuba." And for whatever reason, I think I volunteered because my mom was willing to carry the thing back and forth from school so that I could practice. And that's literally how I became a tuba player. And that was my principal instrument all the way through middle school, high school, and college. I picked up bass guitar almost kind of the same way. In the 7th grade, same band director said, "We're starting a jazz band, and somebody needs to play bass guitar." And so he said, well, as a kid, Richie says, "Well, Richie, why don't you just do it? Because your mom will help you." So, yeah, literally, yeah, because my mom had a station wagon. So it was like, so that was it. I got the school bass guitar. I'll never forget. It was a Lincoln. That was the brand name. Was a Fender knockoff.
Okay.
And a junky combo amp. And I sat there with the Mel Bay book at home, trying to, learning how to play. And one day, and I was very frustrated. And then just one day, I even remember it was right before the big spring concert, and suddenly it clicked. And I don't exactly know what happened, but at that moment I was like, I'm going to be a rock star. And that was it.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds a little bit like that band director kind of had it in for you.
I got to tell you, listen, God rest his soul. His name was Albert Fulton. Everybody called him Chubby because for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. And he was really the first big music inspiration for me, as far as really exposing me to hey, you really could do this, and to push you and to challenge you in a way to try to make you a better performer. And then, of course, I need to recognize my high school band director, Chuck Fugate. Chuck was a young guy straight out of college, a jazzer. He actually, ironically enough, he went to LSU at the same time Blue Lou Marini went to LSU. So he knew him. And so he was all into jazz, but he was a guitar player too, which so now I'm like, oh my gosh. So that was an awesome experience. Talk about somebody. Now I got somebody that actually knows what I'm doing and can really push me into the direction that he wanted me to go. So humongous school band influence. Yeah.
Okay. And in tandem with school band, did you do private lessons as well?
I did, not until I was really going to seriously consider studying music in college. I went, I got somebody to get some private lessons to kind of prepare me for a college band, which I was woefully unprepared for, I found out. being a one of four tuba players in a high school band, and then all of a sudden you get to college and like everybody is at least as good as you, and most of them are better.
Hmm.
So it was, that was the learning curve was steep for an 18-year-old kid from Sebring, Florida.
Sure, sure. So, I imagine kind of in tandem with that stuff, the regular school curriculum, the private lessons, that you were also kind of looking for that method to become that rock star. So, looking for like garage bands or looking for other musicians to play with.
Yeah, I actually, when I was a junior in high school, me and a couple of friends started. They were trying to do like a novelty act for school homecoming, and so one of the high school guidance counselor played keyboards, and we had a couple of other people involved, and so we started a band called California Toe Jam, which was like a novelty act for homecoming, and then it just kind of took off. And I kid you not, we just had a reunion. I haven't seen those guys probably in 20 years, but we had of all the living members anyway, we had a reunion just recently. They're still playing with new members, but the band is still going. But that was my first actual rock star, finger quotes, experience. And then,
Sure.
but but listen, my first paying gig, I kid you not, I tell people this all the time, was actually, I was 14 years old and I was playing tuba in a polka band with a bunch of guys that were like old enough to be my grandparents plus. And but these dudes were stone cold killers, man. But that was my first professional. That's the thing I got paid for. I think I made like $20 or something,
Nice.
and played at an Oktoberfest thing. Yeah, I played tuba. So that was my exposure to professional music, you know.
Very cool. So, you had those experiences. You were going to college. You were playing tuba. What did you do kind of once you got out of college? How did you continue to pursue music? Jesus, sorry.
That's okay. Well, I actually doing music full time wasn't an avenue for me at that particular time and where I was. So I was actually teaching public school music, and it wasn't as satisfying because like these kids weren't. I thought that everybody was going to be passionate like me, and that everybody would want to stay after school for 2 or 3 hours practicing or listen to something by or listen to something by Nat Adderley or listen to like listen to Eleanor Rigby and like pull the lyrics apart and stuff like that. And I found out, much to my surprise, most of them weren't. So and of course, and I was doing cover band things and stuff like that. And then but it just wasn't very satisfying for me. Fast forward several years, and when I stepped away from public school, I rediscovered my passion for playing professionally, and I got the opportunity while still having a day job to continue to pursue not just cover band stuff, but actually original stuff. And it was so it took actually stepping away from doing it sort of as a vocation to rediscover how much I loved doing it as a vocation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So that kind of brings us up to, where you are now. What are you doing musically? What are you involved in? How are you, getting out there and expressing yourself?
I am so excited. A few months ago, I hooked up with some other guys who I don't even know how this happened. It was like literally like a Craigslist ad. And I found four other guys that were super passionate about wanting to do new music, wanting to write, and wanting to perform and do things. I don't know how the universe managed to put four other people, I should say, on Craigslist literally at the same time, but we all kind of found each other. So I'm pursuing an original music project called The Brothers. Where we have a single out right now, and we're working on recording a 5-song EP, which is going to come out in the summer. And then in between that, I sub a lot in some of the local bands in the Orlando area. Now that I'm living somewhere where I'm close to much more live entertainment, I have the opportunity to do that. And then I have a little blues rock side project called The Pickup Artists, it's strictly covers, but it's all really fun stuff. It's deep cut stuff like Government Mule and Led Zeppelin and ZZ Top and things like along that nature to kind of challenge us. musically, things that we're just passionate about, and sometimes people pay us money to listen to it. But
Hmm.
the Bourbon Brothers is my new project. It's really, it's kind of hard to pigeonhole. I would say that it's along the lines of like a Blackberry Smoke, Dirty Honey, sort of that Southern rock, like if Leonard Skinner and one of those, like if they evolved into something else, that's sort of like where we think we're headed.
Sure, definitely. With that being the current stuff that you're working on, putting out material, what are some of your favorite memories that you had in the time that you've played music? Was it, whether it was a show you went to or played, or the tuba, or your current project?
Well, there's so many. Gosh, it would be hard to narrow it down, but I'm gonna try to hit just the big things. One of the biggest things for me as a young person, and looking back on it now, I can appreciate it much more. I went to college at Florida Southern, which is in Lakeland, where it just happens to be the place where jazz cornet Nat Adderley came to retire. Um, and he would come in and just like guest with his guys in college jazz ensemble. So I had a chance to study and play a little bit with Walter Booker, who was probably one of the best jazz string bass players to ever walk the planet. And looking back now, I realize what that was. At the time, I almost couldn't really appreciate it. But doing music stuff, man, I've gotten to travel. I've been around the country. Hearing songs that I've composed or played on broadcast radio, that never gets old, man. I don't know if Jason Isbell ever gets tired of hearing his songs on the radio, but I don't. So, and just got to meet some really cool people and do some crazy stuff. Every time I think like, oh crap, just isn't going to happen for me, or it's not going to go anywhere,
Hmm.
something else happens, and just kind of reignites my desire to express myself, and both in writing and in performing.
Sure, that's great. So where can people check out your stuff, take a listen to your tracks, and give you a follow?
Yeah, right now, the Bourbon Brothers have two singles. They're available Spotify or iTunes or Amazon. There's two tracks, like I said, they're singles that are out right now. First one's "Burnout Moonlight," which is an up tempo Southern rock kind of deal, and the other one is "I'll Take It From Here," which is a ballad. Like I said, all those are available on all the streaming sites. I love to get in touch with people personally, so I would be flattered if anybody wanted to join me on all of the social media platforms. Twitter, it's at Redneck Rockstar, REDNEK Rockstar. On Instagram, it's Rich Shepard 67, all one word. Also, definitely the Bourbon Brothers are also there, so it's Bourbon Brothers Official on Instagram, and then of course the Facebooks. Just either search me by my name, and then also the Bourbon Brothers has their Facebook as well. So, would be flattered if anybody ever wanted to reach out about any of the stuff that we're doing, and also too, I'm gigging almost constantly, so. I would love to see folks out at any of the shows that I'm doing anywhere in Central Florida.
Perfect. So I always like to give the person I'm interviewing the opportunity to put out their last word. So just a message that you feel you resonate with that you want to put out there.
For me, man, the thing that I have learned is don't quit. No matter how bad you think this is going for you, keep doing it. Pound the rock. There's inspiration to be found everywhere. Take a breath, do what you do, and remember why you got into it in the first place. And you'll see, it'll come to you.